Hello, welcome to People in Perspective. I'm Josh Valentino, and my guest for this edition is an environmental engineer, Michael Valentino. Welcome to the show.
Hello, glad to be here.
Okay, so let's start off about your gas mask. So if you would just get your gas mask.
Okay.
Can you explain some of the cool features of it, what it's used for, functions of it, why it's important?
Okay, well in hazmat, which is hazardous materials response, there's different levels of PPE, which is personal protective equipment, ranging from just a hard hat and boots all the way up to level A, which is a fully encapsulated suit, self-contained breathing apparatus, suit which is chemical and vapor resistant, gloves. This is down the scale of protectiveness, but it still is something that's to be used in an environment where there may be hydrogen sulfide gas or particulate matter that you need to protect yourself from. This is a combination cartridge. It protects against organic vapors, acid vapors, or hydrogen sulfide. It also prevents the inspector from breathing in particulate, which could settle in his lungs and do a lot of damage. So in my line of work, I may wear this once or twice a year. It's usually in a very dirty environment, and when you're wearing your mask, communication is hard. It's hard to speak through the mask when you're wearing this, and you're usually in an environment where it's noisy and dirty and very dusty, and it's hard to hear the person you're with, so you have to be very careful. But this is something that really can keep you from being exposed to something serious.
So that's like a filter?
There's a filter in here for both organics and for particulate matter.
Do you ever just put air in there, so if it's really dirty, or do you only use that usually if you ever use gas mask?
No, if you in a situation where you need supplied air, where the oxygen level in the environment is too low, or if there's toxic gases that this will not protect you from, then you actually will bring in a tank, like underwater divers, like scuba tank. You would wear that, or you would have a full face respirator with a supply hose that provides fresh air.
Okay, so that's enough about that. That's a very cool thing, though. So how about your steel toe boots? May not be the most interesting thing, but obviously important.
Well, they're steel toes. Some boots have steel metatarsal, and when you're in heavy industry, you really appreciate these. If you're walking through a steel mill, climbing up catwalks in chemical plants where you can really stub your toes, or a tool can drop on your foot. This is very appreciated. It really protects your feet against almost any hazard you could find. It's water resistant too. If you're in a situation that I've been in where you're walking through some liquid, it does protect you in that regard as well. Very sturdy sole. You can walk over just about anything. It will not puncture, so you don't have to worry about getting a nail impaled in the bottom of your foot when you're on inspection. It's real good.
Very cool. So
safety.
You did not bring your college degree, but we'll just talk about it. So what degree did you get in college, and how does it relate to your job? Was it very important that you got it? Was it a hard degree to get? So that sort of stuff. So tell me about your degree.
Okay, I have a degree in environmental engineering. I went here to a local college, engineering school, Illinois Institute of Technology. And back in those days, it was one of the few schools that offered degrees in environmental engineering in the Midwest. Any engineering discipline will require a lot of math, a broad range of sciences, thermodynamics, physics, chemistry, biology, strength of materials. And then as you progress further into your curriculum, then you take courses specific to your field. If you're a chemical engineer, you might study distillation columns. Myself, an environmental engineer, I really studied a lot about air pollution control equipment.
Okay, that's very interesting. So how about an inspection? What are things you do regularly on inspections?
Okay, inspections entail generally two phases. A walkthrough portion where you go into the plant. You look. In my case, I'm an inspector under the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act. The EPA, we regulate industries under several environmental statutes. My own area of expertise is under RCRA, RCRA. So I will go into a facility, we'll do a file review to make sure that they are sending their hazardous waste to proper location, that it's properly disposed of, it's managed properly on site. Under the RCRA program, we have to ensure that hazardous waste is managed safely and legally from cradle to grave. That means from the point it's generated and to the point it's ultimately disposed of or landfilled or treated somehow. So it depends on the facility. We'll walk through it. We'll look for obvious locations where waste is stored or managed or generated, make sure that everything is in order. There's no releases, which means a spill of the hazardous materials. Make sure all the paperwork is proper.
So do you do this in groups, or would it be by yourself?
Mostly it's individual inspectors. We may go out with county inspectors from 6 different states in which we have jurisdiction, or possibly some municipal inspectors. Sometimes we do multimedia inspections, and that requires a team of inspectors from different areas, Clean Water Act inspector, Clean Air Act inspector, and myself a RCRA inspector, and then possibly other programs at EPA along with state counterparts.
So are inspections usually long, or do they take very short, or how long are you out there?
Sometimes inspections could be 2 to 3 hours. Sometimes they're 2 weeks. When they're the multimedia, they're team inspections. Those could go quite a long time, especially if sampling's involved and you have a sampling team out there. And those are generally done in stages. You have maybe 2 inspectors focus on their areas for 2 or 3 days, and then a different program will come out for another 2 or 3 days. And so those are spread out. You have an assigned team leader. I've been a team leader on those, I believe, 3 times since I've been at EPA.
So when you go and get all your data, do you write an essay on it, or what do you do with it?
Yeah, write technical reports. And if there are violations, then the technical report by the inspector is one of the key pieces of evidence that the EPA uses to bring either an informal action or a formal action. And a formal action would be an administrative complaint, possibly even a lawsuit with the Justice Department.
Okay, that's very cool. So how about to your medal? If you would just show us your medal.
Okay.
So why did you win it? What did you do to win this very cool looking medal?
This is a national silver medal. EPA awards regional medals in different regions and national medals. This case began in December of 1999. A large automotive company in Anderson, Indiana. They were in the process of decommissioning their plant, and they were treating a lot of electroplating waste. And they made some serious miscalculations in the wastewater treatment on site, that they're using a chemical which was toxic to aquatic organisms, and they used too much of the chemical. Subsequently, they killed all the microbes in the municipal wastewater treatment plant, and that wastewater treatment plant released high levels of ammonia to the White River, along with the chemical that this company used, which decomposed into another chemical called thiram, which is fatal to fish. And this resulted in over 50 miles of river contamination. 4.5 million fish were killed. The settlement took about 1.5 years to complete with different inspectors from EPA, and we used local inspectors to come alongside us, state attorneys, and then we worked with the Department of Justice. And we reached a $14 million settlement, which included $6 million towards restoring the river. And within 10 years, they restocked the river with 1 million fish. And from what I have read, that the river is thriving now. And it was a major environmental disaster and a major environmental cleanup. And it was just a great case to be on.
So how did you get recognition? Did anyone, say, wow, great job?
Well, it started within the region, and our supervisors just saw the scope of the environmental impact, and they saw the level of work that we put forth, and they saw that it had national significance. And this was something the governor of Indiana at the time was very much concerned over, and the state of Indiana and the people of Indiana, because it hurt recreational fishing and sporting in the White River, which is a major tributary in Indiana. And the settlement was huge, and $14 million is very substantial. And then the fact that we had such a large restoration project that the river was restocked with fish, and then just through the natural attenuation of the river, the chemical dissipated, and the river's clean and it's thriving. And
Okay, that's very cool.
We were all
So-
awarded, recognized for that.
Thanks for coming on this show today. I'm Josh Valentino. See you next time on People in Perspective.